thought about it all day today. The world we know's about to waste away. On both sides and in between, we're seeing things that we've never seen. Our little piece of paradise is turning out to be not so nice. In a world so full of greed, do we fight? Do we just concede? We all cry as she dies. Is there nothing we can say or do? Trying to stay alive. Will we all survive? The answer lies inside of me and you.
W Rock Radio here on WLOR.net. Dave Evans, What About Tomorrow? Come out, come out. Come out of your homes. Come out from wherever you may roam. Hello, this is Adam Ginsberg. I'm flying solo tonight, guys. My partner in crime, Tom Ryan, can't be with us here this evening. I want to welcome you all to True Ghost Stories here on WLOR.net, the new W Rock Radio, where we take amazing ghost stories and paranormal experiences and reveal the truth. So let's not be afraid to reveal it. Through this journey, we take every claim with an open mind, unravel the unexplainable, research it, ask questions, get answers to know the truth. Who knows? We may even help souls cross over, find out why they are here, or discover what they want from us. So grab yourself a drink, tuck yourself in, and get comfy. You're about to face your fears. Welcome to True Ghost Stories. Guys, we are going to have a blast tonight. Powerhouse lineup here on True Ghost Stories. This is like a True Ghost Stories coming out party is going to happen this evening. We are very fortunate. We've got Larry Overman here. He, of course, is one of the illustrious minds behind True Ghost Stories. He's the executive producer. He's the owner of Crescent Mine, as seen on Sci-Fi's Ghost Mines. Silent but deadly in the background at all times, Sherry Emily is going to be voicing up tonight with us. She is, of course, the engineer of this program and many others on the station. And Sherry is also the founder and executive producer of True Ghost Stories. I believe we'll also have Nicholas Sarlo joining us. He's one of the team directors. He's a producer, lead investigator, Shadow Hunters of Team Illinois from True Ghost Stories. And there may be even a few more chiming in. And of course, tonight, I'd like to see if some of you would like to chime in. I believe our number is 508-717-8758. And you can jump in on the chat room as well. Before we get rolling, I thought for those who are here on the East Coast, we might do something a little bit fun. Of course, this show right now is coming out of Long Island, and we're getting into that season. And I thought that tonight I would weave in with our guests some haunted, creepy places here on Long Island. So I'm going to kick it off tonight by reading off one of them. And then we're going to see who we've got on the line. This is coming, if anybody wants to follow along, from LongIslandPress.com. And I've got Long Island Haunts. 13 creepiest haunted places on Long Island. And we're going to jump right in with Mount Misery and Sweet Hollow Road. This is in Melville, Huntington. And I'm familiar with that area. Grew up nearby. I'm sure many listening are familiar. There's a lot of tales of things that have happened on that road. Various tales of horror and dread surround this winding incline through dense woods and up alongside a hilly precipice, some of which are detailed in Weird New York, your travel guide to New York's local legends and best kept secrets by Chris Gethard, and Long Island's Most Haunted, a Ghost Hunter's Guide by Joseph Flammer and Diane Hill. One legend has it that there was a hospital here that burned down sometime during the 1700s or 1800s, with some patients and staff still trapped inside, only to be rebuilt on the same site to tragically burn down again. Another speaks of deranged nurses who set the blaze and roams the woods now, with or without a number of faceless children. Some claim to have seen burning spirits fleeing from the grounds, accompanied by screams. I know I've been on that road at night, and I've been in cars full of people all, scared and turn the lights off and this, that, and the other thing. And it is one of those areas that does tend to raise the hair up on the back of the neck. I haven't seen any faceless children or a deranged nurse, but that being said, the area does have quite a history. Sherry, are you with me tonight?
Yes, sir, I am. How you doing
Hey,
tonight, Adam?
welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're always here.
How are you this evening?
I am great. How are you?
Doing great. A lot of busy things, a lot of great things coming for us this year.
Yes, there are. We got a powerhouse True Ghost Stories lineup tonight, I believe, checking in at various times. I don't want to make this, like a big commercial for True Ghost Stories, but we are going to talk a lot about that tonight, guys, because we are getting closer and closer. Sherry, we have some folks on the line already, don't we?
Yes, sir, we sure do. We have a caller right now that called in first, 913 caller. Are you there? Caller?
Do we have a caller from a 913 number?
Yes, this is Rick with Spooks Investigations out of Kansas. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Not a problem. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be part of Team Kansas and True Ghost Stories.
Wow, Team Kansas checking in, True Ghost Stories. Rick, what do you have for us? Can you give us an idea? Let's start perhaps with an experience that you had during an investigation. And I love to do this positive and negative thing. Did you ever have a really positive experience from an encounter?
Yeah, we've had some positive experiences. Probably one of the most positive ones we've had was a private residence helping a homeowner talk to his relatives. Actually, it was his father that had passed, and kind of help him get closure. And, that was just everybody, even all the guys in the room, everybody was bawling. So it was definitely a positive vibe there.
Wow. That's a great story. We don't have a lot of those, and that's why I wanted to take a different route. Maybe I sensed something with you. Ghost hunting out of Kansas over there. How long have you been involved in it?
Me personally, probably, I don't want to say how old I am, but 39 years.
Wow.
So
What got you involved?
Probably my first experience at the age of 10, and then right after I got out of the Marine Corps, the first house that my wife and I bought had an old lady in there that she wasn't helping pay the bills, but she was around every day for the 12 years that we lived there.
Wow. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
39 years. You have seen the evolution of paranormal investigation going from literally nothing, I would imagine, to, let's face it, it's become big business and such. Equipment, so many changes have happened. Tell us about the earlier time in your career, and I guess some examples of some. Let's get into it. Hellacious times and how you dealt with things not having the equipment, technology, and essentially all the backing that it seems the industry has now as a whole.
Well, starting out, it was basically you didn't talk about it. Everybody thought you were crazy, and a lot of people still think you are if you do this type of thing. To be honest with you,
right?
The equipment wasn't around. You had tape recorders as opposed to digital recorders, if you had anything at all. So it was more, at least for me, it was more about my own questions getting answered. But now with modern technology, and everybody wants to be visual. Get visual proof or audio proof. So now with the equipment, it's a lot easier to try to prove to somebody, or at least let them listen to what you've captured and really let them make their own decisions.
Right.
People ask me all the time, well, can you tell me who's there? Well, unless this guy says, my name's Johnny, I'm the dead guy that's here, I can't necessarily tell them who is there. I can guess doing research, But that's as close as I get, unless somebody tells me a name, because I can't go off what I feel.
Right.
You don't know me, so I don't expect you to believe anything I say. If I tell you I think it's a little girl here, whatever, but if you believe me, then you can be manipulated very easily.
Mm.
And that's not what we're about.
So in those earlier times, when you actually decided, you know what, I'm going to investigate this stuff, was it similar to today, with forming a team of people like minds and using whatever equipment you had at hand, and whatever spiritual tools or medium tools someone in the group or may have had? What was it like back then?
I would say 99% of the time it was yourself.
Mm.
Unless you happen to run into, having a couple of good friends that you could talk to it about, and then it was more of just a common interest than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike today, you've gone from, the witch that's hidden in the woods to now you're a rock star if you mention it.
Right.
And with all the technology out there, it becomes really easy to help people.
Right. Rick, hang in a second. We've got another caller. We're gonna bring into the fray. Joy, are you with us?
Yes, I am. How are you tonight?
Hi. Introduce yourself, please.
Joy Bailey with Moonlit Paranormal.
Perfect.
From Team West Virginia.
Yes. How are you, Joy? We've got Rick from Kansas is on, and Sherry Emily is with us, and I want to welcome you.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
Hey, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
Very cool. Guys, I'm going to, real quick, before we get rolling with Joy, keep to the theme of the night. And I'm going to talk a little bit about an area that was of interest to John Brightman, who's a paranormal investigator, when he came out to Haunt Fair, and he made a trip over to check out the area. And I'm talking about Kings Park Psychiatric Center in Kings Park here on Long Island. Established in 1885 on more than 800 acres of land, Kings Park Psychiatric is a mini-city of restless, anguished souls. Once home to more than 9,000 patients housed in more than 150 buildings, the complex became a self-sufficient farm community. It had a library, firehouse, morgue, and cemetery. Most of the compound has fallen into disrepair, but the screams, moans, banging, and clanging continues. Eternal reminders of the pain suffered amid its walls. Electric shock therapy, insulin shock therapy, and prefrontal lobotomies were performed regularly at Kings Park Psychiatric. There is an extensive network of underground tunnels throughout the grounds, connecting the buildings, the sites of countless inhuman atrocities of torture and abuse. Guys, with that, I want to, real quick, I believe we have Larry on the phone as well. Larry, are you with us?
Oh, of course I'm here.
Oh, perfect. Larry Overman, everybody. Guys, I want to take this in this direction. Kings Park leads me there, and perhaps, Joy, you want to kick it off. Have you ever explored an area where there was extreme anguish, let's say an old hospital or something along those lines, where for sure in the history of this that wrongdoings happened? And if so, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, lately we've been going into these abandoned churches, and I was attacked in one the other night. That was something you wouldn't expect to have happen in a church, but it sure did. I've got a lot of injuries from it, but I'm okay. We went again on another one last night, and we have another one tomorrow night. I've been doing them every other night lately, and it was Sunday night that I got attacked.
This Sunday?
Yes, just the other day I still got all kinds of abrasions and bruises, and it was pretty wild. I put a little bit of it on the True Ghost Stories page for you guys to check it out. It was a pretty violent night. It was my top episode yet. It was really active.
Do you
Go ahead.
Do you tend to find in your adventures you deal with a lot of more negative than positive, Joy?
Well, we did 3 churches in a row. The first one was kind of somewhere in between. The second one was really evil. And then the last one we went to had there was a lot of touching going on. They were touching us a lot, but it didn't feel as evil as the second one did. So we're going to go back to that second one on Thursday. We're going to go back.
Wow. Fascinating.
We're not done.
And with this this attack that recently happened, I mean, you're laughing it off. No fear, no thoughts about putting down the putting down the tools and going back to a normal life.
Never. I was provoking it actually because there was a baptism chamber,
Right.
and we opened up the floor and we got down into the baptism chamber and we were kind of provoking it in a way. You'll see it on the episode. And I was going back in there about the third time, and one of the steps broke and I hurt my knee and my leg a little bit, but I still went kind of defiantly down in there. And then it had to be 150 plus pound door come slamming down on my head. It hurt my hand, my arm, and my shoulder. Could have killed me if it would have hit me right, or it would have taken a hand or an arm off. I mean, it was super violent, and it's all on the video. But unfortunately, I don't think they caught exactly the footage because they were trying to save me.
Right.
So one girl hurt her hand trying to hold the door from coming down, but when it came down and sealed me up in there, she couldn't get the door off of me. She said it felt like somebody was standing on the door to keep it shut. I was locked in there for a little while. It was really, It was the most intense it's been since I've been ghost hunting. But I'm going back. I'm going back there, and I'm going back in the chamber. I'm not afraid. We're not afraid. That's the motto at Moonlit.
That's awesome. Larry, we got you here. How about an update? Maybe you and Sherry can kind of give an update on what's cooking with True Ghost Stories as a whole.
Well, True Ghost Stories, we're going to be launching on the 24th of September, officially on TeslaWolfMedia.com and on the Roku channel and various other outlets. Now, while we've been going through all this, Sherry and I actually have a meeting on Wednesday that could actually take True Ghost Stories to a whole different level. So that's about where we're going to leave it, because we're not going to jinx it by saying much more, and we don't want to get anybody's hopes up without actually having signed documents.
Right. Wow, this is exciting stuff.
Yeah. True Ghost Stories was an amazing concept. Sherry was just like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I think we should do it." So we just did it, and as we all diligently, and all the teams are working really, really hard. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes that just is extremely time consuming. Nick has got his role, and Sherry's got her role, and I've got mine, and we're all just putting in, hours upon hours trying to get everything lined out and make sure we get all the T's dotted, or T's crossed and I's dotted.
That's awesome. For everybody listening, True Ghost Stories is really quite the juggernaut, and you're getting a little bit of a taste to it, of it tonight. We've got a couple of the groups already on board with Rick from Kansas and Joy from Virginia, right here telling some stories. And these groups are going to be on TV. You can tune in and follow them. It's a little bit different than following one group. There's going to be all sorts of activity from all over the country, and I believe you guys are even expanding international, putting calls out there. And speaking of calls, I think we've got Nick on the line now. Nick, are you with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, how are you, my friend? Are you there, Nick?
Well, he was there.
Oh, did we lose him?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Internationally, yes. We actually have a team out of the UK. We have a team that's just now joining out of Germany, and we're trying to recruit one that's in Australia.
Nice. I'm going to jump into another haunted area here, a creepy place on Long Island, because that's going to lead me into my next question for all of you. We're going to talk about Lake Ronkonkoma, guys, Long Island's largest freshwater lake. Lake Ronkonkoma is awash with legends and stories, from tales it's infested with piranha to the belief that it is bottomless, it has magical healing powers, or is connected to the Long Island Sound and Great South Bay via underground channels. Lake Ronkonkoma is a kettle lake formed by the recession of glaciers and more than 60 feet deep. Historically, the lake was known as a highly sacred site, of religious rituals for ancient Native American Indian tribes who would travel 100 miles or more in pilgrimage to undergo vision quests on its shores, according to Native New Yorkers, A Legacy of the Algonquin People of New York by Evan T. Pritchard. Any of you care to jump in with an outdoor haunted experience? Maybe you've investigated woods. In this instance, I'm talking about a lake. Something that isn't a home, something that the elements may have been involved in your investigation. Anyone?
Closest I've done was some ruins.
Mm-hmm. How did you find that in terms of an outdoor investigation as opposed to indoors?
I like indoors more because it's more controlled.
Mm-hmm.
First, and then your equipment can be sensitive. There's a lot of moisture in the air out here at nighttime, and it tends to, accumulate on your equipment. So I like to stay indoors, but the ruins were pretty fun too.
Mm-hmm. Right. Anyone do an investigation where the area may have had religious ties to it?
I've done cemeteries.
Cemeteries?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Lizzie Borden.
You went to her grave, or?
Yes, sir. We went to her gravesite and we did some investigation, and we got a lot of activity. And
really?
Yes, and if anybody would like to see the photos that we took, they can go to my Facebook page at Sherry Emily. And they
Very
can see
nice.
all the photos of the stuff. I mean, it was really weird. There was one photo that we got. It was when we were entering. We were about ready to enter.
Mm-hmm.
And all it was a bright red color. We couldn't understand the bright red color, so we took a photo shot of that. Then
Mm-hmm.
we go inside, and this was the first time when we tried to go to the gravesite of Lizzie Borden. Trust me, we tried. Okay, this was the first time. The second time we succeeded, but the first time we didn't. I'm with 6 or 7 people,
Mm-hmm.
and we see the entryway of Oak Grove Cemetery, I believe that's what it's called. It's completely red, and we're thinking, oh, it's just the lighting, whatever. But the closer we get, it's not the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
It got lighter and lighter and lighter. And then as we entered this big, huge gate, the oppression was very, very heavy. You know what I mean? It was depressed. It was sad. So we kept walking. Well, when going to Lizzie Borden's gravesite, there's arrows that take you to it. They're right on the ground. They're on the cement where you walk. So we're starting to walk there, and then all of a sudden, it was like one person got touched, one person heard something, another person this, and a bunch of crap was going on. And while we were taking all these pictures, there was orbs everywhere, which a lot of people don't believe in orbs, but some of the photos that we got, they're moving in erratic ways, and their colors, it's just a really bunch of weird stuff. But you got to remember, we're in a graveyard,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we couldn't go on because of the stuff that was just happening. I mean, it was weird. There was one person that just disappeared, and they didn't see us, but we didn't see them, but they're standing right in front of us, but we didn't see each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like they were in one dimension and we were another dimension. It was weird, the stuff that was happening. Granted, it was also on Halloween night we were doing this.
Cool.
So, yeah, we do it every year, Halloween night. We go to that graveyard, to Lizzie Borden's, just to see if we can catch some things. So
Right.
Anyway, as we decided, no, we're not going to finish this because there's too much going on. We're freaking out. And we were getting lost, and the arrows were disappearing, and it was weird. I'm serious. And we were following the arrows, but then, we'd look and they'd be gone. And then we got to where we thought the grave site was at, but it was not there. It's like disappeared. There is no her stone's not there. It was weird. So, we're like, something's not right. So we all decided to leave and not to finish the investigation because just too many things were happening. So anyway,
Right.
as we're walking out, we have these headlights behind us. Okay? Huge headlights. And they're bright, and we're looking, all of us are looking behind. Oh God, we're thinking it's the police.
Right.
Because we're in there after dark. Even though we already called the police ahead of time, letting them know we were going to be there, we figured, well, maybe they were just checking up on us because nobody else could be in there.
Right.
I mean, this is late at night. So anyway, we're walking out, and then I turn around. We come out the gate, and the headlights they're probably about 10 or 15 feet away from us, but it's really dark in this graveyard. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we all come out of the entryway. I turn around and I snap a picture of this car. It was a black car. It was an older looking, like probably from the 60s kind of car. You
Right.
know, it was black. It looked like I don't know, like a mafia type of car, if you understand what I'm saying. I can't explain it. So I snapped a picture of this car. Okay, so anyway, we get back to my house, as a matter of fact, and we start going through the pictures, and just the stuff was unbelievable. Well, the picture that we got, the whole front of it was red. Now, we left, and it wasn't red when we left, but we turned around and took this picture because I wanted to get those headlights of this car.
Yeah.
You know? There's no car in the picture. There is no car whatsoever in this picture. But yet the entryway of the grave site is completely red with the hugest orb I have ever seen over the entryway.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. I have too many witnesses.
I believe you.
There was no car there, Adam. There was no car. Not even in the picture.
I totally believe you, Sherry. You know, for those who don't know, after the program, a lot of times we will stay on and chat, Sherry, Thomas, and myself. And I believe that we've actually had experiences through the Skype.
Yes.
At your place that you were at.
At my parents' campsite.
The campsite.
Yes.
Those really strange photos. The caretaker and the growling noises and stuff. And
that was
it
crazy.
was just. So I do believe you if you're going to tell me that you saw something, because I actively heard what you were dealing with that night, which was crazy.
That's crazy.
It was scary. And I think we do have Nick with us now.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Nick Sarlo out of Illinois, Team Illinois. Checking in. Nick, we've got Joy on with us. We've got Larry's here, of course. We've got Rick and Sherry. And guys, I'm going to read off a little haunted attraction place for you, and we'll get into another topic. This one is another one that John Brightman and others wanted to visit when they were here with us for a haunt fair a few weeks ago. And this is Katie's in West Main Street, Smithtown. Now, I have been down here, and I've spoken with the proprietor himself and kind of literally hung out for the night in what was supposedly the scariest parts or the most active parts of the place. So I have been to this place. Take a stroll down West Main Street in Smithtown, stop into Katie's, and say hi to bartender Charlie Klein, who is about 115 years old, give or take a few years. He may be missing a limb or two, and he might knock a few glasses off the shelves. For years, staff and patrons at this local bar, which has been featured on A&E's Paranormal State, have reported strange occurrences from swinging doors to apparitions. The property has a long history. A hotel burned down in 1909 on this spot, reportedly killing a victim in the basement. Other tales claim a 16th century murderer haunts its corridors, but the most sociable ghost is Charlie, believed to be a bootlegger and bartender during the 1920s Prohibition era, who lived across the street from Katie's and took his own life. That being said, maybe Nick, you're because you're jumping in most recent with us. Any investigations that you've done that perhaps you were aware of a suicide or something like that happened in let's say in a home, and somebody brought you in, or anything along those lines?
Actually, where I live close by, we have in Antioch in Lake County, Illinois, in Antioch Cemetery, there was actually I believe it was a girl who committed suicide on a tree at the cemetery, and actually that was one of my second ghost hunts I've ever went on. And my friend Pat and I went, and it was like, I think it was like negative 13 degrees outside, and we were outside ghost hunting during the day. And we went there, and we went by that tree that she had committed suicide at, and we kept hearing, like we did an EVP session, and we kept hearing help, don't, and then we kept hearing screaming and everything. It was pretty scary.
Wow. Wow.
Cool.
Joy, how about yourself? You've gotten into some pretty wicked situations. Anything where you knew for a fact going in that there was a suicide or something along those lines?
I've known of a lot of. I've been to a few places that have had murders, and actually a couple suicides too. I was in one house that had the husband had killed the wife and child, and then hung himself in the stairwell, and I'm assuming he did that because maybe she was cheating on him,
Right.
or maybe that child wasn't his. I mean, why would you kill a child too?
Mm.
So that was there's always that energy left behind when something dramatic happens like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, Rick, you've been silent for a while. How about yourself? Any activities over the years where perhaps you knew going in there was something really restless waiting for you?
Yeah, we went to a historical hotel in Ellenwood, Kansas. It's a town. It's actually one of our episodes. It's got a tunnel system underneath the whole town to where that's where all the businesses that you didn't want to see above ground were, like the brothels and the bathhouses and the saloons and stuff were all underground.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Wolf Hotel in 1927, there was an individual who went in, ate his meal, paid for his meal, put a gun to his mouth and shot himself in the head right there.
Mm.
And there's still bullet hole up in the ceiling and stuff. And that's a pretty active hotel. And then there's a man downstairs supposedly that during Prohibition in the early 1900s there were sundown towns. I'm not sure if you know what a sundown town is.
Mm.
But basically, at sundown, if you were a black person, you were not allowed to be out on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So this individual was out on the streets. The police chased him down into the basement of this hotel, and I believe or what's told to us anyways, that he was brutally beaten and left down there to die, which he did.
Mm-hmm.
There's historical records of the individual dying. Of course, there's no records of how he died.
Right.
So I can't 100% say that that's what happened, but that's the urban legend in that town.
Right. Right. Larry, in terms of putting these groups together, you're hearing some of this stuff now. I know you're fascinated with the paranormal and such. Anything in particular as you look over this project as it's growing? I don't know how to put this, but is there like a specific hot button for you, or is there something that's really standing out? Oh, go for it.
And there absolutely is. The biggest hot button, it has to be truth. When you watch it, if you're watching their episode or what they've submitted, if it looks like it's been made up or if it's over dramatized,
right,
it doesn't get accepted. It's I was involved in a show, and there's just so much garbage out there on TV and everything that there's only one true reality show that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that show is Survivor Man. Les has the only show out there that is not scripted. He puts himself in the scenarios, but he is honestly living off the land. He does not go check into a hotel at night. He's got the only real reality show out there. Mm-hmm. Now, that being said, paranormal, you don't always get something, but what they may have gotten something there once before, and it's got to be recreated for television, or it wasn't quite, anybody that's done paranormal investigations will tell you that you don't always get something.
Right.
Sometimes you can have a dry run, the spirits or whomever is there just may not be in the mood to talk to you. They may not like you and may not want to give you anything,
Right.
And the very next night, another team can walk into the same location, and there's some other connection that, whether it's the energy from the people that are there, there's something else different that the energies can feed off of to give you something.
Right.
So, Nick may take his team out to some place and have a dry run, but Rick can go to the same place the very next night and just get incredible footage or some sort of evidence that's just mind-blowing.
Right. That's it.
So I think the biggest thing is when they're out there, being respectful of the space.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Now, that being said, as teams already know, but Sherry and I and my wife, Stacy, we're going to be in Memphis, Tennessee, Sunday morning, and are doing a meet and greet at the Marriott Hotel, which is all on the Facebook of the address of which Marriott there is, because I think there's like 7 of them in Memphis. And from 10 a.m. till noon on Sunday.
Yes.
So whoever wants to join us for that and come visit, Stacy and I'll have headshots there, and
that is fantastic.
Yep. We're kind of winding down on the last prints that we had done, and once those are gone, there won't be any more that have that association with it. All the rest of them will be all brand new, and with Stacy and her book coming out here in the very near future, that's taking her on a whole other path.
Right. That's pretty cool. We're going to take another path right now to something darker. This is Reed Ice Cream Grounds, Atlantic Avenue in Blue Point. In 1966, the lifeless body of a murdered 20-year-old go-go dancer / part-time bank teller was discovered here in a sump. Her hands and feet bound, her throat slashed. Legend says she never left. Nick, why don't we start with you? Any experiences, investigations into murder scenes, things like that from the past that you're finding yourself investigating now?
Not that I know of. I haven't really investigated anything like that, like a murder scene. I would love to. That'd be great to do. I've always wanted to go to like the Lizzie Borden bed and breakfast. I've always wanted to go there, and I've always wanted to go to the Liska Axe Murder House.
Okay.
Those would be 2 places I would love to go. But yeah, as of right now, I have never investigated a place that had a murder.
Okay. Joy, have you done an investigation somewhere that you knew going in? This place has a history due to a heinous murder situation?
Yeah, a few of them. The one I call the Portal, which is going to be our episode 2, had a body thrown behind it. There's railroad tracks that run along behind this house or alongside it, and somebody was murdered there. His head was cut off on the railroad tracks, and then his headless body was thrown behind this house that we call the Portal. And they later found his head over by the railroad tracks, I guess. But in an effort to conceal the crime, they put his body behind that house.
Right.
And, we're actually going to be going back there again tomorrow. And we've been there a few times. They know us over there. The spirits definitely know us there, and they react when we come in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty exciting. And then, of course, the place where the husband killed his daughter and wife. I've got EVPs where the little girl's calling for her mother, goes, "Mama," just clear as day, straight up EVPs, and those places hold on to a lot of energy.
Right. Yeah. Sherry, I know. I think you had mentioned the Lizzie Borden grave. Did you go to the house as well, or anything along those lines?
Yeah.
That's a pretty fantastic situation in terms of a murderer.
Yes, sir, I have. I was born in Fall River. I lived there many years, so I've actually been quite a few times. Never once have I had a haunting, though. Mm-hmm. Not one time. But not to say that it's not haunted, because other investigators have gone and have picked up, as you see on television, there have been things that have happened. But to me personally, never. But it is an amazing place to visit, and it's very intriguing. It's educational, and there's a lot to learn, and they have great gifts and trinkets and books and.
So it's a tourist trap.
Pretty much, and it's very expensive. It's not cheap to spend the night there, not for a whole team. Over $600.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Look at that. They're any way they can, I guess. Try to make a buck. Unbelievable. Rick, how about yourself? Have you done any investigations into areas where you knew there was a pretty vicious crime or something that happened in the past or potentially recent to when you got there?
Yeah, probably one of the biggest locations that we got to investigate. We were asked by the city of Jefferson City, Missouri, to investigate the Missouri State Penitentiary for them. And they wanted us there. You know, it had been on TV with a couple other teams, and so they asked us to come in to see if what they caught on TV was Hollywood or if it was actually real. And I'm just here to tell you that what they've caught and more is definitely real in the Missouri State Penitentiary. It was exciting. It was over 100 degrees. We were sweating like pigs. It was a 10-hour investigation. My voice is echoing for some reason. But it was exciting. From the time we walked in, we were there with the representative from the state, and we were down 2 levels below ground, which is the death row for the criminally insane. And there's voices yelling at you in your head, you know, right next to you, and it was just amazing.
Wait a second.
The gas chamber.
Wait. The voices that you heard, you didn't hear them. They were in your head, so you weren't. What you were hearing was unique from, let's say, someone else in the group. They weren't hearing what you were, and vice versa.
Well, you heard it like it was right next to your head, I should say.
Okay.
It was loud. I was walking down. Obviously, at that point in time, we're just kind of doing a walkthrough to figure out where we want to set our cameras. And I'm walking through, and right in my ear, there's like, "Hey," a real rough voice. And immediately I turned, and it's a dark cell that's closed. And so I turned around to the person behind me, and she looked at me. She goes, "You heard that, didn't you?"
Wow.
And so, I mean, it was loud. And then in the gas chamber, we have a woman there doing research. You know, we can speculate that, okay, this is the voice of this woman in the gas chamber, because there was only one woman that got executed in the gas chamber.
Right.
But she didn't tell us her name, so, you know, I can't 100% prove that it's that woman, but common sense would tell you that's a pretty good idea who's there.
Right.
But there's been murders there. One of the cells there, during one of the riots, inmates, there was a snitch. And so he kind of got thrown into this admin cell. And so the guards could watch him because other inmates wanted to kill him. Well, during the riots, he was locked inside there, and they busted through the cinder block wall with hammers to get to him. So just imagine the 10 minutes of hearing sledgehammers breaking on this wall, knowing you're going to die pretty soon, and they bled him to death with sledgehammers.
Wow.
So it was a very, very active location, and we might be going back this year.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Larry, you getting out and doing some investigating as well?
You know, the last one, we've done some things here locally in Burleson, Texas. But the last one that I was at that really had some hair-raising evidence was when we were at the Martinez Gazette with Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And we were investigating the Zodiac Killer. So, and it was something else, let me tell you. It actually was told Clyde was being, from what he made it sound like, or what he was going through, he was almost being strangled live on the air, and we had to get him out of the building. And for those that know who Clyde is, he's not a small guy to get out of a building.
Right.
And we were live on the air, 280 stations nationwide, and they pulled him off XM because it got too real for him.
Wow.
That was a one freaky night, yeah.
Right. Joy, you mentioned to us very recently, as recent as last week, you had an experience that got pretty real for you, that was kind of physical. Nick, have you hit that point yet where you've run into a physical situation with a spirit or some sort of an entity?
Actually, yeah. We ended up going to a house in Boone, Illinois, and we went in the house, and this was towards the end of the night, the psychic on our team, Liz, she actually saw the whole interaction happen, and I had no clue. She said that I had walked right through a spirit, and when I had done that, as soon as I done it, I kind of felt dizzy a little bit, and all of a sudden I felt sick to my stomach like 5 minutes later, and we actually had to pause the investigation, and I just flew downstairs, and I just threw up all over in the sink because it twisted my stomach, because I have never felt anything like that before. It was a really odd feeling, but it definitely didn't feel good.
Right. Now, Joy, your experience was more of external, not internal, correct? In terms of what was happening to you?
It wasn't really able to touch me. It touched my hair a couple times, but it wasn't able to physically, it seemed like it couldn't touch me, but it was touching things around me. Like this door that it knocked down on me was about 4 feet by 10 or 12 feet long. I mean, this thing was well over 150 pounds, and it really should have probably hurt me pretty bad, but I do believe that I was protected, and I believe the Lord protected me on that adventure and kept me from being severely hurt. I mean, it would have been real easy for me to have lost a hand or an arm or something, or crushed my head.
Right. I want to stop right there. Actually, that brings me to something that I'm not sure if this gets mentioned enough. There's a lot of people out there listening right now, and there's a lot of folks watching these programs, and possibly wanting to emulate, and so on and so forth. And I do want to stress, safety is very important. You guys have been doing this for quite a while. You got a grip on what you're doing. You do it safe. I would warn anyone looking to just grab a flashlight and run off into the woods or into some place that they think is going to be this great find, to be really careful about what you're doing, and do some investigating on how to do this before you jump right into it. Rick, did you ever run into something where there was a little bit of a physical altercation, let's say, with a spirit or entity? Or
like Nick, I know exactly what he's talking about. That warm feeling to where you get dizzy and you get nauseous, sick to your stomach, and I've had that happen to me. Been touched thousands of times, played with my hair and things like that. Nothing like on Paranormal Activity where they're dragging you down the hallway or anything like that.
Darn!
Which would be fun, but no, that has not happened to me yet. I think the worst thing that happened to any of our team members, my oldest son is on the team as well. We are at a location, and we're actually packing everything up, and he happened to be up in the attic of this building getting the camera, and a black mass kind of rushed him, and he got punched in the chest and left a red round mark in his chest and popped a rib out of place. But as far as physical, that's probably the most brutal thing that's ever happened.
Right. Wow. Pretty severe. Sherry, I know that you had gotten involved in a haunt. Actually, I think it was last year over the winter you were telling me about it, or this past winter, and there was something that was this in Rhode Island or somewhere? There was something that touched you, or you know which one I'm talking about?
Well, you're talking at the Victorian Mansion.
Yeah, it was within.
Oh my goodness gracious! I'll never forget that ever. Yes, no, for real. We were on a paranormal hunt, and I'm not at liberty to say what other paranormal teams were with us, because it was 3 other teams with True Ghost Stories teams that were investigating this house at the time, and the Victorian Mansion in Beverly, Massachusetts. Well, I was in there with one of the camera people, and I was looking in front of the monitors. Well, I'll tell you, before that happened, I said, it would be really cool if actually something would happen. I would get touched. I was talking about this to some of the camera people.
Right.
We were literally talking about it while I was in the kitchen. And granted, it was freezing in the house. It was like 30 degrees that night outside, so it was even colder in the house. We were bundled up and everything. And Larry got this video take. Remember, Larry? We sent you this video take. But anyway, but we didn't get
but
this.
I thought the being touched thing, I just thought that was dates that went awry.
No, no, funny. But I was in the kitchen area, and nobody was video cameraing it at the time. You know what I'm saying? Even though there was somebody, there listening, and all these people, ran, but nobody got this on video. But I'm standing there looking at the monitors, watching all the monitors in the room because I'm fascinated by them, and seeing all these things flying by and orbs acting strangely or whatever they were. They were just acting weird, and you could see shadows. I mean, it was crazy the stuff that went on in this house.
You could see
you
those
could literally
things?
see the things on the monitor. But the thing is, when we were airing it with Larry, they couldn't see it. That it was because of the way we had to film that night. It was weird. And there was a lot of things that happened in that house. I don't have all night to tell you about it, but I wasn't the only one that got touched, attacked, saw ghosts, had things. I had other things happen to me besides being touched that night. But anyway, we'll go to the touch part. I'm standing in front of the monitors.
Let's go to the touch part.
And all of a sudden, I feel someone touch the top of my hair and rub down the back of my neck and literally pull my sweater off of me.
What?
Yes, literally.
Wow.
I was freaking out, and at first I thought, I thought it was a camera person or something, because I was, all excited and stuff. So I turn around, and there's nobody even standing behind me. There's a closet door behind me.
What happened to your sweater?
It was on the floor, and
Really?
And I had my camera on. Okay, I had my phone, my camera phone on, because I was taking pictures of the monitor. Because I wanted to see if I could get what I was seeing on the monitor on my phone.
You know what this is reminding me of?
What?
What was the movie with, was it Barbara Hershey? Way back when it was something.
The Entity?
The Entity.
Oh, well, don't say
something
stuff like
is reminding me of this.
Maybe.
Sherry.
Maybe. But anyway, I turn around, right, and there's nobody there, so I snap the picture, okay,
Yes.
with my phone. And then I screamed. When I realized there was nobody behind me, I screamed. Okay, and then everybody comes running, and at that time when they came running, I was bending down on the floor picking my sweater up off the floor. Well, as I screamed, another person screamed in the basement because he had got attacked.
Whoa.
The same time that I got touched.
Where is this place?
The Victorian Mansion in Beverly, Massachusetts.
True hotspot if I've ever heard one. That sounds like a lot going on. I'm curious, and we don't have too much more time, but that's a very interesting scenario that was presented to you as a team, where other teams are on the property at the same time. That's very unique. Not stumbling into each other and such.
This house was so huge, Adam.
Yeah, but what I'm getting to is it kind of reminds me the way you were able to work in a coordinated fashion and not stumble into each other and be able to capture footage for each other's, programs and whatever. It reminds me a lot of what's going on here with True Ghost Stories. Individual teams working together on one large project, capturing unique footage and information and trying to do what the overall mission is that Larry mentioned, which is bring the truth, which is pretty cool. I do want to just mention one more time for everybody that's listening, there is a meet and greet going on, guys. If you want to get involved in some of this stuff and you're somewhat local to the Memphis, Tennessee area, there's a meet and greet coming up one day only, Sunday, August 30th at the Marriott Hotel, 85 West Court Avenue in Memphis. And you can reach out through the True Ghost Stories page or on Facebook, and I'm sure someone can help you out and get you the information you need. Let me see if there's any further. Or just contact the hotel, I guess, itself, 85 West Court Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee. And
we'll be there from 10 till noon.
Yep. You guys will be there. Sherry will be there. Larry, you and your wife will be there. And
a couple of the other
should
teams
be a pretty
will
cool
be there.
time. Oh, and there'll be other teams there.
Several teams will be there.
Yes.
I'm still replaying Sherry's story in my head that she was just sharing with us, and for some reason, I'm hearing in the background, almost in my own head, the Divinyls playing "I Touch Myself." Like I cannot just why is it in my head? Sherry's being touched, but there's nobody else around.
I had my camera, my phone, and I have a picture of that too. You could actually see something inside the picture that I shot, for real.
Post that. I'd like to see it.
It's on my Facebook.
Oh, is it? I'd love to see that.
It's on my Facebook, and I shared it in Universal Paranormal. I've shared it all over the place.
Awesome.
I even shared it on True Ghost Stories page. So There you go.
Let's do a quick round robin here. Joy, if someone's listening and they want to get a hold of you and your group, real quick, because we got to wrap up, where can we send them?
Moonlit Paranormal Facebook page. We have a group and a regular page. And my phone number's on there. If you need any help, give us a call. We'd be happy to help you.
And you're out of Virginia and surrounding?
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
We're right near the Virginia border, so if you're on the western end of Virginia, we can come on down there to help you too.
Awesome. Joy, thanks so much for calling in tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Nick, Illinois, my friend, if someone is interested in contacting you, getting some help, or speaking to your group, where can we send them?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to facebook.com/shadowhuntersil for Illinois. Or they can also write to paranormal, PARANORMAL, 8624@gmail.com. And yeah, we're out of Illinois, Shadow Hunters. And we're actually going to be at a huge convention coming up in Chicago called the Dark Shores Chicago Ghost Convention, and it is actually steps from Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, which is the most haunted cemetery in the world. And we're actually going to be showing one of our episodes there, and we'd love to meet you.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us tonight, Nick.
Yep.
Rick, you're very welcome. Rick, out of Kansas, my friend, how can people get a hold of you and your vast experience if they need some help out there?
Well, they can get on our website. It's www.spooksinvestigations.com. Stands for Supernatural Paranormal Organization of Kansas. Facebook, Supernatural Paranormal Organization of Kansas is our Facebook page, or they can email me at rick@spooksinvestigations.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Larry, before you go,
Yeah.
anything you want to add as far as how someone can get a hold of you if they need to touch base?
You know, if they need to touch base, pretty much everything through the True Ghost Stories webpage or Facebook page. And if anybody is out there in any other state, we have connections across the nation and around the world. So if you're having an issue, drop a message into the True Ghost Stories Facebook page. You know,
Awesome.
Somebody will be around close by to help you.
I love it. And Sherry,
Yes, sir.
if someone would like to touch base with you and perhaps talk to you about your sweater.
They can reach me at sherry.emily@gmail.com or Sherry Emily on Facebook. And if anybody is interested in joining True Ghost Stories, they can contact us on our True Ghost Stories page. So they can leave a message with us. Just look up True Ghost Stories and they'll find us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me tonight. It was a blast. I want to remind my audience I have a new movie breaking tomorrow. You will find it, I believe it's Best Buy and some other places. It's already available online. It's called The Long Island Serial Killer. And, man, I've been waiting 2 years for this movie to hit, so I hope you enjoy it.
I can't wait.
You can find out more about me on IMDb. That's imdb.me/Adam Ginsberg. And that said, do you ever feel like you're not alone? Do you ever feel like someone or something is near you? Have you felt touched or that something has brushed up against you? Do you hear voices? Do you have vivid dreams of dead loved ones? Do you see shadow people? What are they? Who are they? An angel or a demon? Or just someone reaching out? We believe someone or something is reaching out. We want to tell the world the truth. Our experiences are not a figment of our imagination. There are things that walk the earth that are unknown to us. We want to find out what they are. We want to share it with all of you, and so do they. We want to tell our stories and their stories. We are True Ghost Stories. Tune in next time. We have great guests in store for you. Listen to myself and the most talented co-host in the world, Thomas Ryan, will be with me next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Till then, happy ghost hunting.
Down this road of life, done his share of losing faith, nothing else will right. Time it catches up with you, if only in your dreams. Wake up with a coin in hand and hear the ravens scream. Hear the shadows of the night. You can run, you can hide. Hear the shadows of the night. you lose your life. Somewhere in another place, so many miles apart, he runs away from what's to come and cries out with his heart, following that highway, not sure of where to go, looking up ahead of him, and he sees the joining road. He doesn't see the stop sign there. No time to turn away. The raven's perched up on that wreck, yelling, I warn you of this day. In the shadows of the night, you can run, you can hide. In the shadows of the night, there's no time. No time you can buy. No. Kicking and screaming, stretching and beating just to stay alive. Dealing and stealing, cheating and dealing, no good ways to lie. Begging and bleeding, barely just breathing, the end of the road is near. The end of the road is near. Tell me, what do you fear? Oh.